I was actually at the first Big Day Out in 1992, you know, at the Boulton Pavilion. And it was, I think there were only 3 stages. They were very low stages, and the main stage was actually the main stage at the Boulton Pavilion, which was sort of, you know, indoor stadium. And I remember there were 3 international acts, which were Nirvana, Violent Femmes, and Henry Rollins, who was on stage playing with the Hard-Ons as Hank and the Hard-Ons.
It's every promoter's dream to lock in a band before they explode and get them for a small price, and you know, locked into a contract so they can't actually sort of escape from it. So of course that's what happened with Nirvana, and you know, it gave the Big Day Out its brand, really. Getting the hottest band in the world playing it at the festival in its first year, and obviously that really helped it sort of expand nationally the following year.
It was enormous. It was, you know, it was a brand new thing for Australia, I suppose, or for Sydney at the time. And to have, yeah, a band that had made such an enormous splash internationally, one of the biggest records of the last 20 years, probably longer, to have them kick off the festival, yeah, it was an enormous coup for the organisers and for everyone involved.
I think the album sort of just went #1 just before they actually toured, so basically it was just perfect for them. I mean, they came down to Melbourne and played a show as well, but it basically just meant that everyone wanted a piece of the Big Day Out, and when it arrived in all of their cities, everyone bought tickets straight away, because possibly the next big band that was about to break were on the bill.
And they weren't even the headline act that year. Violent Femmes were actually the headline act for Big Day Out, which a lot of people seem to have forgotten about over the years. But yeah, Nirvana, when they were booked, they hadn't peaked yet. They hadn't peaked at all.
The first Big Day Out was actually set up by Ken West and Vivian Lees only as a way to bring out the Violent Femmes, because the Violent Femmes was so huge at the time that they wanted to create something special for the Violent Femmes. So they put a festival around the band. So that's how actually the first Big Day Out started. It was the catalyst was the Violent Femmes, not Nirvana. Nirvana was just a band that another savvy promoter at the time, Steve Pav, who's now gone on to, you know, huge success as a promoter and also as running Modular Records. He's a bit of a maverick, Steve Pav, but he was the tour promoter for Nirvana, and he'd previously brought out Mudhoney. But yeah, so he was kind of bringing out the grunge bands at the time.
Big Day Out. But look back on it, the history of it, I suppose, I think it just sort of fast-tracked its success, kicked it off as a major event on the festival circuit, which was just a growing thing at the time, but certainly put it on the map. Yeah, there's no question.
You know, just seeing Nirvana and the Violent Femmes was pretty special, but also just getting so close to a lot of these bands, and seeing, you know, 3 stages. You could actually go. This is probably the only Big Day Out where you could probably see every single band that played, because the 2 small stages were near each other, and when one stopped, the other one started, and then there weren't that many bands playing the big stage. Only Nirvana and the Violent Femmes at the end of the day. So they'd sort of organised the gig so everybody could see every band. So, you know, the fact that you could do that was pretty good.